Hey, what's going on everybody? Gleez here, and today we're going to get into a review of a Castlevania 2 remake. And this remake is called Simon's Quest Rebitten. It's created by Ed Findlay. I'm going to put a link to his YouTube channel down below. Be sure to check him out. He also has other games on his website, which I will also link down below, some of which are also free. This game is free, and it may even be the best Castlevania game ever made. This game builds on everything Castlevania 2 got right, and it amplifies it. The open world, the secrets, and the awesome combat system of Castlevania are all taken to the next level. The game keeps a majority of the layout from Castlevania 2, and despite the familiarity, the redesigns of the map and new level design is enough to keep you constantly on your toes. Now let's talk about some of the changes. Simon's more athletic in this Castlevania. He can move back and forth while jumping, his walk speed and animations are much more smooth, and he feels less stiff and more fluid as you control him through the environment. This is a much welcomed addition. He also is equipped with a shield, and get used to it because you're gonna need it. Instead of using a password system and having 3 total lives, you only have 1 life, and you can save by entering a town, going into a church, and it will also replenish your health. It's very reminiscent of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Unlike the OG version of Castlevania 2, Rebitten uses actual money as the currency to buy items. You can find money bags, treasure chests, and crowns scattered all over the map. Money bags can also be acquired via enemy drops. The sprites used for these items are very reminiscent of the crown and money bags and treasure chests from Castlevania 1. Hearts in this game are utilized the same way that they are in most other Castlevania games, and that's to power your sub-weapon. Sub-weapons include holy water, the diamond, the dagger, the cross, and the axe. Knowing where these sub-weapons are located will be very important, and we'll get back to why it's important a little bit later in this video. The music in this game is great. Ed added some of the best tracks from different Castlevania games, and it really helps to create a different yet familiar feel as you play the game. During your journey, you'll find items that will increase your heart capacity as well as your overall health. This is very Metroidvania-esque, and we love that. The basic premise of the game is the same as Castlevania 2. Find all of Dracula's body parts by completing each mansion, go to Dracula's castle, summon him with the body parts, and then slay him. Easy, right? Not really. This game is much more difficult than the OG version of Castlevania 2. The enemies seem a bit more powered up, they have more health, and are strategically placed to make things difficult. That's not to say the game is unfair. Overall, I didn't find many of those annoying instances of super cheap deaths occurring like in most remakes of Castlevania or ROM hacks. That doesn't mean that it never occurs though. Roll the tape. What the heck is that? Oh, also remember this? Thankfully, that's gone, and Night has completely changed. Instead of the enemies becoming increasingly strong, your visual abilities become hindered. Once you gain the torch, your light circle increases, and acquiring Dracula's eye will fully increase your ability to see at night. Also at night, those green zombies that normally would flood the towns in the original Castlevania, they just randomly spawn continuously when you're outside. I found this to be a great time to farm for money bags as they drop them rather consistently. Fortunately, I didn't seem to have to spend a lot of time farming for money, and in the rare instances that I did, it went really quick. I love that about the game. No one wants to be hindered by excessive farming and or leveling up. Some other things that the enemies drop would be laurels, which allow you to become invincible, a big cross that will kill all enemies on the screen, and garlic. And the garlic restores your health. But don't worry though, there is still ample amounts of wall meat scattered throughout the game. You can also break walls with your whip in order to find books of clues that will help you progress through the game. You probably will remember those from the original Castlevania 2. Speaking of breaking blocks, some blocks are labeled with sub-weapon icons. These blocks can only be broken with that particular sub-weapon. If you do not have that sub-weapon, your progress may be impeded in a mansion, or you will not gain access to the goodies that are hidden behind that wall. This is a good addition to the game overall and created a puzzle of sorts in each mansion. There was an interesting dynamic in some cases where you would need to go to the mansion with the necessary sub-weapon, break the marked wall, and then backtrack in that mansion to pick up another sub-weapon that you would need to use in the future of that mansion. If you didn't do it in the specific order, you would have to leave the mansion and then start it all over. It was a bit tedious at times, but overall I think it was a pretty cool puzzle addition. An amazing feature and one of my favorites that was added to the game is the fact that you have to slay a boss at the end of each mansion. This added some really epic and iconic boss battles that were not even present in the original Castlevania 2. But my absolute favorite part of the journey was going to Dracula's castle. In the OG version of Castlevania 2, once you had all the body parts, Simon went to the bridge, bashed the wall, walked across it, and boom! You were inside Dracula's castle. In Rebitten, that's not the case. You cross the bridge and make your way to Dracula's castle, and boom, you're at the beginning of Castlevania 1. This actually would make sense in a way, because the first game of Castlevania is you making your way to Dracula's castle. So to cover a lot of the same areas actually makes sense, and I think Rebitten gets it right. During your journey to Dracula's castle, you'll encounter many of the sections and levels from Castlevania 1. You'll also encounter the Castlevania 3 clock tower, as well as the green section that auto-scrolled up, but this time there is no auto-scroll. These epic callbacks to the OG games, and just the simple idea that Simon has to actually make his way to Dracula's castle is absolutely epic. I love the way that this was implemented. As epic and amazing as Rebitten is, no game is without flaws. So let's get into a few things that I found to be negative or just wonky about the game. I think a good feature to add to the game would be an autosave after defeating a mansion. I did die a few times trying to make my way back to a town just to save in a church. I found myself actually at times backtracking through safer areas instead of progressing forward just to ensure that I get to save the game and I don't have to redo the mansion. I feel adding a save point after a mansion is defeated will help keep the pacing of the game more consistent and allow you to progress forward more successfully. That was my number one issue with the game, and it honestly isn't even that major of an issue. There were also some wonky things that I noticed while playing the game. There's some candles that I would whip and they just wouldn't break. Now, there were only a few, I think I counted 3 in total, and they were more so toward the beginning of the game. Not a huge deal, but I'll see if I can find them in my footage and add them here in this video. Another interesting thing is when you get hit while you're on the stairs and then you reach the top of the steps, oftentimes Simon would jump forward or backward. I'm thinking that it's probably the character animating from the hit, because you don't animate when you're on the steps. So I'm guessing once you get to the top, the game has him animate and he just kind of jumps forward or backward. Not a huge deal, not a big problem, but just something that I noticed. Because you can pick up items instantly, also trying to keep the weapon that you want can be kind of annoying at times. In other Castlevania games, sometimes you can't pick it up immediately, and that would be great to implement in this game. Now at the final boss fight, for some reason I could no longer access my shield. And again, this isn't a big deal because the shield doesn't really come into play once you learn this fight, but I just thought it was odd. I tried to go into the fight with the shield already drawn. Dracula just kind of stood there, teleported, hit me, and then I couldn't bring my shield out again. Just something a little wonky, a little weird, but overall doesn't really affect the gameplay or the game at all. So overall, I absolutely loved Simon's Quest Rebitten. It really took me back to the time when I was young and I used to wake up at 4 in the morning, extra early, to play Castlevania 2 before school because I just loved the game so much. The quests and adventures of trying to find all of Dracula's body parts and all of the secret items as well as the puzzles in this game really add to it and allow you to experience the game in a different manner, and it allows for you to kind of go back to a time when all of this stuff was new. It's like reimagining the game and finding all of these new things, and it takes you back to a time that you remember. And is it the best Castlevania game? I think it is one of them. I do think Symphony of the Night probably is still above it, but as far as the 8-bit games go, I think it's really a competition between Castlevania 3 and Simon's Quest Rebitten. Between those two, I feel like it's really, really close, and I may have to give the edge to Rebitten. I don't know. I got to play both of them again and make sure that I come up with a good consensus decision on that. But it's close, and I definitely suggest playing it. Again, the links are down below if you want to check it out. Go ahead down there, click the links, download the game, play it. Let me know what you think in the comments section. If you're new, be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you get updated whenever I post new content. As always, I want to thank you for checking in. It's Jay Gleez signing out, and continue to game strong.